and more recently with the Royal Global University since 2025. His academic career is further enriched by 45 years of remarkable research experience, demonstrating his wavering commitment to advancing geographical scholarship. His scholarly contributions are truly remarkable, with more books and more than 100 research papers to his credit. Professor NAYAK is also an exceptional mentor, having guided 26 doctoral scholars and 18 MPhil scholars, contributing significantly to the development of future academics and researchers. Beyond his exemplary contributions to teaching and research, Professor NAYAK has demonstrated outstanding academic leadership through his involvement in scholarly publishing. He currently serves as the chief editor of the prestigious journal Transactions of the Institute of Indian Geographers. Earlier, he served with distinction as editor of Hill Geographer and joint editor of Transactions. He is also associated with the editorial board of the International Journal of Social Sciences, further extending his influence within the international academic community. His global academic engagement is equally inspiring, with scholarly visits to numerous countries including Bangladesh, Brazil, France, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, the United Kingdom, Belgium, Germany, Tunisia, Morocco, and South Korea. We are truly privileged and honored that such a distinguished academician has graciously accepted our invitation to be with us today. Sir, your presence adds immense prestige and inspiration to this conference. We are deeply grateful that you have taken the time to share your wisdom and insights with us. Ladies and gents, please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt welcome to our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor D.K. NAYAK. I kindly request Sir Professor NAYAK to come to the dais and take your time.
Thank you. And just about going to the afternoon, so let me say good morning to all of you. We are close to the midday. And thank you very much for this introduction of someone who doesn't deserve much of it. I always take pride that I'm a teacher and I continue to teach. And I feel like I have many students today in front of me. So that gives me a lot of strength. Actually, last night I lost my voice. And I joined billions of people in the world who have lost their voice, literally. We have a world now full of voiceless people, and those who matter, those who have a lot of voice, they don't think about the people. So now I feel how helpless I am when I wanted to speak. Now I'm relegated to the margins, and will listen to me and meet me and talk to me. And that's described in words. But today's topic is different. All that I've been saying is my own feeling, and I continue to cherish it for times to come. But I must place on record my sincere thanks to the organizers of this conference, my colleagues here in the department, who thought it so much good of me and invited me to be part of this very important seminar and speak on this vital topic. I am beholden to each one of you, my dear friends in the Department of Geography, all of you, and I remain so on my NAYAK. So with this, I think I have not much time, but though when I have some 35-40 minutes, so I will try to compete within that. So let me come to the crux of the issue that somebody will change the I think very important connected to the present seminar. I was wondering what to speak on when I saw the topics on which you are all debating. That gave me a lot of strength. I know that you will be discussing issues of paramount importance on the issue of climate change, and that would come up with many new ideas, innovative ideas. One thing that struck me as an overriding issue is theorizing. Basically, when it comes to sustainability and climate change, we are essentially talking about the theories of development and how development is linked to climate change. Is climate change a constraint to the development, or the development itself is causing the climate change? Is technology is going to solve the problems of climate change, or it is this technology which is the root cause of the climate change, or it is just natural, it has been taking place, it will take place, it will continue, irrespective of the fact that we want it or not. The climate change is there to stay, and we need to adjust and adapt to itself. Ladies and gentlemen, what if everything we have been taught about development, endless economic growth, GDP, industrialization, technological know-how, industrialization at all costs, and the progress that we make and are proud of, all measured by GDP, is quietly killing the very planet that sustains all of this. If this is what is being questioned, then I think we need to talk about the interrelationship between all these that I have been pointing out so far. Climate change does more than raise sea levels or melt ice caps. These are only implications, consequences of the climate change, which some time back I said that no more it is being described as a mere change. It's a crisis. It's an emergency, which perhaps is not easy when we experience it on a longer term basis. But when those who are actually facing it, they know that they don't know what will happen tomorrow. The people who live in the islands, in the coastal areas, in areas which the cryogenic space, all of them experience it much more widely and intensely. So climate change cannot be just a rise in the sea levels, or just because ice caps are melting today. It stands as the most powerful indictment of our received theories of development. It is this, what we are experiencing today, the crisis, the emergency, the challenge from climate, which perhaps stands out as the greatest indictment of the path that we have pursued in development and the theories of development that have been developed based on that. On one thing I am happy though, one can be happy, it can be a dark happiness, that it is climate change, which is now forcing us to think differently. If there's no climate change, we would have perhaps which is showing us the mirror that you cannot and should not depend on the stability and pursue development. And once that stability is removed, then everything is removed from your feet. You know where you go when the earth moves from your feet. This is what exactly is happening today when climate change, the crisis that is confronting us, is forcing us to rethink, to revise, to regenerate many issues and not say that we need progress, we need growth, we need development, and development at every cost. And till we see the kind of situation that we are faced with today, which is a crisis, which is an emergency that we need to tackle. Prosperity, yes, we have achieved prosperity, we have achieved growth, but everything would collapse very soon if climate crisis continues as it is. We need to rethink development, not for the optional upgrade. There's no question of any option left to us, but as an urgent necessity for our survival. It's an existential issue now. No more upgrading things, no more combating climate change. All of you will be the papers where you will talk about how to combat, how to change, how to use different technology to see to the less carbon emission, how to use what kind of carbon trade we can do and whatnot. All these are cosmetic, I should say, until we change the development paradigm ourselves. All that suggestions that come for technological interventions is proving to be absolutely cosmetic. Climate change isn't merely an environmental crisis. Many among us present in this room, we always present climate change as an environmental crisis. Environmental crisis was there even earlier. Climate change is not simply an environmental crisis, it is a profound philosophical crisis. We must think philosophically. It compels us to question the very theories of development we have inherited. Inherited for whatever reason. Inherited because we are colonized, inherited because we are part of a world system now, and we know others who have benefited, and we want to do the same thing, we want to copy them. So whatever it may be. Theories, these kind of theories that promised infinite growth. But where? In a finite world. This is the philosophy. This is the kind of philosophy that needs to be now debated. It's no more an environmental crisis, it's a philosophical crisis. That how do we achieve infinite growth for which we are all doing the horse race, and that we want to achieve from a finite earth. You cannot have infinite. I don't know if there are mathematicians who should correct me. Logically, is it possible to have infinite achievement from a finite pool? Mathematically, it sounds incongruent. It is perhaps not possible. The time has come to stop asking how we can adapt to climate change within the old model that we have been pursuing, and start asking how we must transform development. One way is to transform the development itself to survive within planetary boundaries. For decades, we have accepted without question that development means more extraction, more consumption, more emissions. But climate change arrives like an unwelcome teacher in the class, forcing us to interrogate those very assumptions. It challenges the received wisdom that human progress must come at the expense of the earth. And it demands that we imagine and build a different kind of development, one that respects limits, one that values equity, and one that honors life rather than endangering it. So this is what I thought is a philosophical crisis that we must all go through. The theories of development we inherited from the 20th century. What are those? Grow fast, clean up later. We must develop, we must grow, we must increase, we must progress. Cleaning up can be done later. I mean, let us plunder the environment and we can regenerate the environment later once we are rich. That's the kind of, you must have seen how much the developed countries say that we have done wonderfully well if the undeveloped countries which are now polluting. Because we have tremendous money we will create the problem and we'll also remove those problems using high technology. So that was the 20th century model of development, where the attempt was to grow first and then clean up later. Literacy incomplete, even delusional, because of the climate change that has exposed all that as myths. This crisis doesn't allow polite half measures. It demands that we summon the courage to question it will disintegrate into pieces, but only after 200 million years. So why should I worry for today? That kind. It's no more so. Climate change, if it was thought like this, it is no more so. It has reached my doorstep. they could get it because they could export the pollution to others. They sent all that pollutants, and today also the same thing is happening to imperialism. All that they talk about clean technology. What clean technology? You have taken all pollutions and dumping it in Bangladesh, Vietnam, India, and so many other countries. And you are very happy. Total quantum remains the same. Only you are here. Only you are exporting them. That is the kind of change which has taken place, and they are not wrong. So the thesis that I am presenting before you is that climate change acts as a powerful catalyst, forcing us to re-theorize what development really means. We need to change our understanding of development rather than attempting at cosmetic technological solutions that we must do. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use technology at all. Technology is always something we use to better our life. This difference between science and technology. The science provides us with the knowledge, and technology improves or reduces the drudgery. Technology's job is to reduce our drudgery. But every time technology is used, it creates its own nemesis. It creates 10 other problems. I'll give a small example. In climate change context, I'm told solar energy is the best because it's non-polluting. It doesn't create much of a problem. The more and more that we do. So most governments are now promoting solar energy. But a recent study, if you want I can always give you the reference, shows that the farming of solar energy in large number, in acres and acres and hectares of land, has indeed increased global heating, has increased the local or microclimates Yeah, the core problem, no? Traditional development areas. No. Growth with this, growth with that. Highly contradictory. You cannot have. You cannot have. So Brundtland also said that the poor is responsible for all problems. The poor is degrading. That growth imperatives classed with planetary boundaries. That is something which none of these four development models that I have talked about, none of them. The very fact that I am talking about the growth, these imperatives classed with planetary boundaries, that is carbon budgets, biodiversity loss, all these things were the boundaries that was crossed easy with growth imperatives. The need for the growth will certainly cross these boundaries. Economic models underestimate cascading risks that were associated more than pursuing climate targets. What we have been doing is that we set targets that we have to have. By 2030 we do this, 2045 we do this, 2070 we will do this, 2200 we will do this, 2700 we will do this. Wonderful. Just fix the targets, we do it, and the problem of climate change will be over. No. What Winkler says is right, that we have to rethink development goals and let us not pursue these targets. Next, please. and carbon-intensive industrialization. The paradox is this, that the very process climate change means acknowledging that sustainability is synonymous with equity. Another issue which very few climate change protagonists ever recognize, that you cannot have sustainability on any issue, including climate change combating, unless you have equity. With this much, the world, the earth cannot take so much of inequality in the society where billions of people live under marginalized life, and a few billionaires will control the rest of the wealth. If this is the Mughal times, when we had a royal class, kings and emperors, even that much inequality was not existing as it is existing today in most countries, not only in India, but in most countries. This path has led us to devastations, and that remains as it. The climate change has given us this diagnostic tool that you cannot have sustainability if the inequality level is so unsustainable. Next, please. Current development models, characterized by linear extraction and carbon-intensive urbanization, have produced a spatiality that is fundamentally at odds with the Earth's regenerative capacities. We cannot kill the regenerative capacities and then say that we need to combat climate change. Earth needs to regenerate itself. The terminology should not be resource but regenerate. Resource has an economic value. Regeneration has an ecological value. So when we use the terms rooted in the take, make, aware logic. Take means extract resources, make means create something, manufacturing. What magical words we need to develop. Only if we could do like China, tomorrow will better China. We have to only manufacture. So manufacture in such a way that we can just use and throw it and don't have a place to throw them out. So take, make and then waste. We don't think of regeneration. So that logic has reached its terminal geographical limit. The resulting dissonance between economic expansion and ecological stability necessitates growth-obsessed paradigm to a resilience-oriented one. That is what is the net outcome, because climate change is a structural disruption that has taken place because of the kind of development path we have taken. Now, I quickly now go through what are the important parameters of lithiarizing. One, next please. Resources on a finite planet. Many people liked Rostow and continue to accept him despite all the economic criticism. I am not bothered with economic criticism. But the most significant criticism of Rostow's model is that it assumes a finite planet. It assumes infinite resources on a finite planet. The shift that needs to be taken is climate change proves that the global north model is not a universal blueprint. Let us accept it. It's very difficult to accept, but only we can do it because we understand it. That we have to accept that the global north model, which we all aspire to be. I told you a while ago, we all condemn America, but we want to be America because we are jealous of them. We want the same kind of development which has happened to them, or to Europe, Western Europe. But we want the same thing, but just because we cannot do it, so we are criticized. But if we can have it, we'll have it. So we are not bothered about them. We are not bothered. So we need to admit consciously that the global north model is not a universal to happen like that, but a historical exception. Treat it as an exception, that what America achieved, what Western Europe achieved is an exception, not the rule. Exactly opposite of what we actually have in our mind. And that cannot be replicated globally without total ecological collapse. The reason? If nature has enormous resources. Nature is and all of them are for human beings. We always think the nature is for human. Not we are in geography. Humboldt said, he said not human and environment. He said nature and the relation between human and nature. He said what? Human, a man of nature, not man and nature. Man of nature was his the phrase that he used in his writing, or man for nature. But we are talking about man and nature, a relationship in which man is all the time, and rightly so, it's man, not human. Because the men are the bigger culprits, women are not. They're out from all the exploitation. Men have been doing it, so let them do it. That's why I think the earlier term man was appropriate here. And unlike Humboldt, we use this term because men are responsible for undermining the nature. They control nature. And they always consider themselves as superior to nature, and a theory was built that everything exists for human beings. And the term resource comes from there. We have to extract, convert them into resources. Convert all natural things. We'll talk about fish as fish stock, not fish population. Imagine, fish stock, how much fish is there? What is its value? What is the international value in dollar? How much is coming in terms of export of hilsa fish or mackerel to Middle East or anywhere? How much foreign revenue? What is the trade deficit? That is all that we talk about, because nature is considered, and everything turns out to be kind of use value for human beings. That is called the anthropocentric. The animals are anthropocentric, the trees are anthropocentric. Everything, rock, water, sand, anything you name, they are turned into, they are useful for human beings, and human beings have a birthright to use them. None of them are equal to human beings, but Humboldt had a complete, the man of nature means equal terms. Is something that we need to now talk about more and more, the Anthropocene, and how the most emissions. Yes, we should do it. Is it possible? The critique is that the most green growth in wealthy nations is actually carbon leakage. That is outsourcing manufacturing to the global south, which is what I just said a while ago, that all that achieving the 17th century, 18th century. and even early 19th century. They created massive carbons. This is a debt they owe and they must pay. That is what is development. We don't need to grow. Please stop growing. Even if you want to grow, please stop growing. We don't need growth. The goal is to redistribute wealth and prioritize social well-being over capital accumulation. The impact on the theories, the shift, there should be a shift now in the focus from more to enough. Change the word, I want, they'll market more. They'll always bank. They must be explored and they can be a very good ally in the development process. That is incorporating traditional ecological knowledge. A very big wealth of traditional ecological knowledge exists in most of the undeveloped countries, underdeveloped countries. The tribal communities, the rural community, the fishermen, all of them have a repository of tremendous ecological knowledge that needs to be harnessed, identified, and used. One of the concepts is blue vivir, or living well. A Latin American humans philosophy that prioritizes harmony between humans and nature over how much is the individual, the relationship between human beings and not individual wealth is not important. So re-theorizing in this sense would be to recognize that underdeveloped nations may hold the most developed philosophies for survival using indigenous knowledge systems, particularly indigenous ecological knowledge that is available with us right here, right under our nose. Lastly, or perhaps not so very lastly, the role of the state and global governance is equally important. The Green New Deal is a return to state-led development and planning, which is necessary. We have, since 1992, we have developed a concept for any planning. All our planning models have gone, but climate change is not a small thing. It's global, it's national. it's regional, and planning is necessary. And we have to return to the state-led development and planning. There should be collective action. Climate change is a tragedy of the commons, that we have lost common properties that require a rethink of sovereignty and global cooperation. That is something which is can be done by the state and through global governance and finance also, moving from foreign aid to climate finance as a right. We have to emphasize on climate financing and not look for a foreign aid to have roads on the hills so that more people can go and do tourism. Am I not sounding very utopian, impractical? Yes. To many people like us will sound utopian and practical. But look at it. What I'm saying is not without any evidence. In Bhutan, they don't talk about GDP. They talk about gross national happiness to measure their wealth. It's a small, tiny country in our neighborhood. But they have a ministry of happiness, and they measure their wealth by gross national happiness. Costa Rica, decarbonization and reforestation is a national development strategy. They have already done it. So I'm not so utopian. I'm not so impractical. Many countries are now adopting what I have been saying so far. Then there's a small island developing states like which are called seeds. They redefine security in development terms. But the moment I say security, you know, security from China, security from Pakistan, security from Myanmar, security from Australia and whatnot. That comes to our mind. But for them, security is in terms of development. They define security. If they have development of this kind, then they feel more secure as a society. So, let me conclude now. Climate change isn't just an environmental problem. It is a crisis of the imagination regarding how we live. The new theory is development equals to the expansion of human. What I have been saying so far in just one sentence. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. I don't think that we wiser words than this. I'll stop here. Thank you for listening to me despite my failing voice. I hope I have done justice.
We sincerely thank our speaker for the thought-provoking session. Sir, thank you for reminding us that climate change is not a distant thing anymore and that it is also a philosophical crisis. Also, your insights on how we need to rethink and retheorize development. And that there needs to be a paradigm shift in the way we tackle development was truly thought-provoking, and it's something that has given us so much to think about. Thank you so much, sir. Now, we'd like to conclude this session. If there is any queries, you may please go ahead. After that, we will have a lunch and proceed on to have our first technical session, offline session. Thank you, everyone. If there is any queries, you may please ask now. We'll have a few minutes for queries.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this time. My name is Selim Konai Manuel, and I'm a research scholar at Dhanamandiri University. Sir, if I'm not mistaken, hello, you have mentioned that if I'm not mistaken, sir has mentioned that climate change is exaggerated by development of tourism. So in that case, my question is, how will you level the degree of acceleration of climate change by the industrial development, which overlook the development of rural regions, and the acceleration of climate change by the development of tourism, which brings development to the rural regions?
No, I'm sorry. I think I probably couldn't convey it properly. It was a consequence. I didn't say that it caused climate change. Tourism doesn't cause climate change, but it's a consequence, that environmental consequence of climate change, which we have a variety of examples. But the other part of the question is,
how will you assess the changes in climate change that is brought about by industrial development, or we can say mining and development of tourism? Yes, the changes in the climate brought by the development of tourism.
changes in climate?
Yes, changes in the climate brought by the development of tourism.
First, you tell me first in Manipuri, let me translate what you are speaking.
tourism development climate change
second part of the, what is the second part? He had some misunderstanding regarding he thought that tourism
Okay,
is driving climate change.
that is causing climate change. Cause is tourism is never the cause of the climate
So
change.
if it's not the case, then he doesn't have the second part.
Okay, that I understood. I think he had got it wrongly, because in a short speech you cannot explain everything. I was only saying that when the climate change is taking place, how much it can have impacts on tourism, and even then we go ahead with the road constructions and all that, which can cause damages to people and properties, and like the Kerala experience, also the same example I had given, that people had already predicted that a lot of with the rains which are becoming furious rains now, the intensity of rainfall frequency has increased because of climate change. That is something, extreme events are taking place in Himachal and many other parts of the country. We have this cloud bursts have become very, very common. In Kerala, the monsoon rains never used to have this intensity. All those things are, yes, they're because of climate change. But the landslide is not causing climate change, nor the tourism is causing climate change. It's a global phenomenon coming from, as I told you, the kind of development that we are pursuing. Development of growth, and wastage, all those things. Those points are not. Thank you.
Our answer is scheduled. It has been ready since 11:30.
Oh my God.
Sir will be here for 2 more.
Yeah, I'm here. We
So
can ask.
whatever questions you have, we will take the lunch or after that.
We must have an answer.
Okay, sir, I don't want to be a vehicle like, even I don't want to be vehicle lifestyle. But you can deny the growth. Because economy is, I think, still top priority. You have a money, you are global power. You give it the example. You don't want more, you say enough, but you have more, you can say enough. If my father have more, then my brother and sister sibling can say enough is enough. My mother is poor, so we have to. So that means art first, fourth thing. So second, sir, Bhutan example, I am not okay, but very peace is very problematic because now global scenario, European Union thought that we will go green, don't think about seriously. When USA switch off from the NATO, then they feel say we should do something. That means destructive, that means military weapons, do that. Now they are UK, France, Germany, France, Norway, Nordic countries, they are thinking that we should go like USA. Okay, so peace is okay, but peace may be one time in the morning, every morning, peace may go if you don't grow. And if you don't be economically powerful. So this is my opinion. So what's
I don't agree with this opinion because first of all you are giving your scale of example is different. You are reducing it to individuals. Like I don't have food to eat, so tomorrow. This is what Ruslan also saying that the poor people degrade environment because for them environment is not important. For them their stomach is more important. That is the kind of Brundtland kind of conflation of poverty and poor. So at individual level, yes, what you are saying is right, but not at the national level, not at philosophical level. That enough means we have had enough, we don't really need. America need not have more and more and more. But yes, Uganda needs more and more and more. Okay, but not in the same way they achieved it. It's not what, but how. You achieve. The important question is how you achieve it. Which is that path that we need to take to achieve enough and not more. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request everyone to have a good lunch and also to please be here at the seminar hall again at 1:30 p.m. for the technical session 1 offline.